It really does enrage me how an entire generation was told to work hard, take out loans, get a good degree, and everything will sort of work out. And there's loads of people who held their end of the bargain up. They did the thing. And now the job market is collapsing. That path doesn't really make sense. The end result isn't really there. And the world is just kind of like, oops, boo-hoo, figure it out. Sorry, guys. There's truly no accountability. It is genuinely unacceptable. And I say this as one of those people who graduated in 2021, right at the beginning of the drastic change that we've seen in the workforce. I was applying for jobs and I wasn't getting any. It was a terrible experience trying to apply for jobs post-grad and get my foot in the door. And AI wasn't even this insane buzzword yet, so I can't even imagine how much more difficult it is today. And I see two responses from young people. There's the nihilistic, we're doomed, I'm not even going to try anyway side of things. And then there's the escape the matrix, you can make it out demographic. I don't think that the correct, or I should say best or most useful response is nihilism, but I also don't believe that you can just opt out of the matrix. You are always going to be in some matrix or some rat race, whether you like it or not. To me, the real question is, which one are you in? Because you do have a choice. You can hope that they have your best interest in mind and ensures that you make enough no matter where the world is going when it comes to the new technological advances with AI, or you can have a little bit more control and curate your own path. I decided to do the latter. In 2021, sitting in my childhood bedroom, frustrated that I couldn't get a job, I decided I'm not going to wait on anyone else and I'm going to design my life and curate my own path. And today I want to walk you through exactly why and how I made that choice, what it looked like, and why now more than ever, it really matters what path you choose. Let's get into it. Hello, my name is Danae. Thank you so much for giving me a little piece of your time today. If you're new here and you're watching on YouTube, by the way, you can also listen on Spotify. It's always linked in the description. So I'm going to start off by saying something very unexpected, but I promise you I'm getting somewhere with it. Just let me land the plane a little. I think clavicular is woke. And yes, I am being serious. Let me explain. For the uninitiated, clavicular is an online influencer streamer who's most known for popularizing looks-maxing. Looks-maxing is a subculture that prioritizes maximizing your physical attractiveness by any means possible, literally smashing their face with hammers, surgeries, steroids, pretty much anything that can make you look better. And if you do one quick Google search, you'll see loads of mainstream news media making him out to be this sort of idiotic caricature, which, yes, he has been controversial, made racist remarks, etc. But despite all of that, his rise to fame was greatly built off of his message, his ideology that primarily young men, but both young men and women really resonated with. And what is this ideology, you might ask? I'll let him say it.
Do you think that if you were bald, if you were fat, that you would be doing this interview, that you would be a journalist?
Yeah, I do.
Well, I would tell you that it's very unlikely that you would have the career that you do if you didn't have, the looks package. That's really what it comes down to. Like you'll see a lot of media personalities with full heads of hair, generally in shape, and that's what it comes down to.
See, again, I disagree. Do you not think there are bald, overweight journalists?
Of course I do, but I'm just saying you would have had to overcome that disparity by being a lot better in other metrics to have the career that you do.
Oh, the world doesn't reward merit. You can move through classes in society via wealth, looks, charisma, connections. That doesn't sound like anything untrue or insane to me. In his mind, looks maxing is simply following the rules of the game that was never a pure meritocracy to begin with. And Gen Z and younger generations listen to him and are attracted by his arguments because there is truth in it. And we've been lied to about the path we can follow and what it will result in, and then dismissed consistently. Oh, you can't buy a house, stop spending, save more, do this, do that. young people are exhausted by institutions lying about how the world works. So when we have someone who's being honest and upfront, like, hey, yeah, don't take out a school loan. You're probably never going to be able to pay it off. Just get double jaw surgery and look smacks your way into becoming an influencer or becoming an attractive political figure. You'll probably make more. The system is rigged. He's being honest about it and actually succeeding in his pursuit of doing so. AI is taking away entry-level jobs, changing the way the world of work works. Meanwhile, he can drop out of school, get a gambling deal, and make more than a doctor will ever make in his entire life. Crazy. And don't get me wrong, I love academia. I wish for a society that makes true academia more accessible and all the things. But the reality is the premise we were sold just doesn't work. You need money to live. Minimum wage isn't going to cut it, but neither is these investments. So as I was sitting in my childhood bedroom applying for jobs, I was like, you know what? I'm going to take anything I can get. Shout out Carolyn in Vancouver, BC, who gave me my first internship where I did some writing for her magazine. And because I was an intern, she just kind of like, yeah, can you also do this social media thing? I heard that I need to do that now too. And I'm like, yeah, I think I kind of know how to do that. I'll help you out. And that really opened my eyes to a new world of work. At the time, I was seeing a lot of e-commerce brands and businesses using social media. And I was like, there seems to be something here. I continued applying for jobs as the Gen Z go-getter I am, scrolling on TikTok, seeing people making money online in all different ways. I decided to start an Etsy store. I started making money from that and talking about my journey on TikTok whilst I was working away with Carolyn and that internship. And I remember making a mental note that I was not going to continue applying for jobs after the internship was done. I was going to figure out some other avenue, whether it was this Etsy thing or something else. Ultimately, I decided to build a service-based business where I offered marketing services to e-commerce brands. I had no marketing background. I did not have a marketing degree or knowledge, but what I did have was a strong desire to figure something out and the perspective that if I had the discipline and work ethic to work so hard in the internship that I had, which I did, I would go above and beyond in any possible way without being asked to. I could probably do the same thing for myself and build something for me, to curate my own path instead of sitting there waiting for some job to hire me and pay me an unlivable wage. So I pivoted my personal brand from sharing my Etsy journey to talking about marketing so I could attract clients, and that worked out for me. And I spent the last 5 years figuring out how to build a freelance business on the internet that's sustainable, pays me way more than I would ever make in a traditional job with my degree, how to position yourself correctly, how to find great clients, build long-term relationships with them. And I break all of this down in my newsletter twice a week. There's over 3,000 girlies in there. We chat back and forth all the time. You can check it out in the link in the description. And yeah, 5 years ago or so when I started, that felt like such a rebellious, crazy decision to make. And all my friends and family members were kind of like, okay, you go freelance, you go like make your little coin, figure it out. And now the people and the friends and family members that I have who had the high paying, unaffected by AI careers are asking me how to go about things. The world is really, really changing. Entry-level job hiring is now down 30% because what's happening is companies will hire one person, someone who figures things out, designs their own path, things that are probably not even being taught in university, because companies are hiring one person that uses a couple AI tools and agents to replace all of the entry-level hires that they would usually have. What makes this even worse is that this removes the pathway for entry-level people, for people coming out of university to learn the craft. I've had conversations with the lawyers who say that a lot of the post-law graduates or even undergrads, they're, quote, dumber because they don't have to go to the library, get the books, read through the books, highlight them, and really go in the weeds, learn to write, research, and execute in the way that they had to 10 or so years ago when they were in school. So their quality of work is decreasing, and then the speed at which AI can replicate the quality of work that is actually needed is increasing. So that puts young people, new people coming into the workforce at a disadvantage. And this is why you cannot play the game, right? You cannot just say they said to go to school, they said to do this, so I'm just going to do this. You have to go above and beyond and figure out what skill sets people are actually hiring for, what AI tools might replace your work, and figure out how to man those and strategize with those if you want to choose your path in this matrix, in this rat race. I think this clip of Stephen Bartlett really helped me conceptualize this new workforce.
When I look at specifically entry-level grads, if they aren't really AI proficient, they are a lot less appealing in some roles than young grads that are extremely AI proficient. And the problem is not many of them are. And that just in sort of a company like mine, if you're AI proficient, really irrespective of age, and you know how to build this thing called AI agents, it's kind of like you come with 50 team members of your own.
Wow.
That's what it's like. So I've got a kid called Kaz here. He's a young guy in his 20s. He's built a team of agents that now work for him. So hiring Kaz means I get Kaz and his team of agents because he's proficient in that technology. Most of the workforce hasn't been trained because of the education system to know a thing about this.
Right.
So it's becoming increasingly difficult to hire entry-level people, but actually all the way up the board, unless you have deep expertise in a domain, which would mean that I can get Kaz to make you the agents.
So nobody actually knows what the workforce will look like. But what we do know is that things are changing, and it seems that the more specialized you are, the better. And the more you're aware of the tools and technologies that are being created, the closer you'll be to the money, the more you'll make, and the more security you will likely have. For example, TikTok blew up around 2020, 2021, and then about 2-3 years ago, TikTok Shop blew up, and a lot of these big companies never hopped on. But we had young people who were like, okay, well, I need to make some money. I'm going to try and figure things out, starting to use the platform and figure out the mechanisms of TikTok Shop. Those same people are making great money on the app, making little videos, and also have the skill set to sell their services to these bigger companies who did not hop on the wave and are now looking for it. Those companies who have massive budgets and are willing to learn from people who had the hands-on work. There's likely no university course at the moment that can replace the knowledge that these students have. And this is a similar process to what I've taken with the fundamental marketing skills I have and the AI tools that I create for my clients to increase their workflow, build systems, make things more efficient, and also productize my thinking and approach, having worked with these new age e-com startups over the past 5 years. Especially when it comes to paid ads, which is where I specialize in, something that has really changed drastically in this time frame. So you can see a pattern here where what matters isn't what they say. What matters is what is actually happening and how you can get your foot in the door and become specialized and learn how to sell yourself. In this world, you cannot just make a good resume and hope that the AI picks your resume and puts it in front of people, because one, chances are the person that gets the job is the one who has the connection, the one who's the friends of the hiring manager and all that stuff. That's not even new. But more, whether you want a job or you want to take a path like me and others and start freelancing your services, you need to learn how to sell yourself. Learning how to sell yourself in this age is so important. You need to be able to communicate why you're valuable. And in order to communicate why you're valuable, you have to learn valuable skills. And I'd also say that in this age, you should not rely on one person or one company for your livelihood. You should have multiple income streams, whether it's selling the same service or literal different pathways. And you should probably be visible somewhere. I know for a lot of you, that's really annoying, but visibility increases your surface level for opportunities and luck. Attention, which one is an asset, what is valued right now in this economy is attention. That's why influencers get paid so much. That's why clavicular gets paid so much. So that can give you an edge. But also, it opens up more opportunity for you to get noticed. And the reason that I decided to freelance is because it seemed the most practical. It's not some new internet thing. It's one of the oldest working models in history. Fun fact, the term comes from medieval knights who were free from lancers. They weren't loyal to one king. Obviously, since then, the workforce drastically changed. We had Industrial Revolution, corporate America. There was a little boom of the gig economy with things like Uber, TaskRabbit, which are basically low skill stuff that AI can definitely replace now. But freelancing digitally in this online sphere is separate from the gig economy because you have a specialized skill and you're working with companies that really value your specialized skill. And right now, again, because of the economy we're in, where people are building startups like this and working globally, startups aren't immediately going to hire someone full time and have them work in a cubicle. What they're doing is they're looking for specialized talent who can fulfill the exact needs they have, just have them on a contract and get the result they're looking for from them. It doesn't matter how long they work, but rather the results that they bring to the table. So in my opinion, if you have a fundamental skill and you're able to move with the market and pivot as things advance and change, that is the best insurance plan, because you'll never be dependent on one employer or one thing. Your income isn't in one person's decisions, but it's in your decision to pivot and sell yourself accordingly. To my surprise, as a 22-year-old posting TikToks who put a calendar link in my bio to book calls, I had 7-figure founders who were building their startups who were like, hey, I kind of liked your video about marketing and copywriting. I have this brand. Can we have a chat? And then they would pay me money and then we would work together. And then I just continued. And then I was like, oh, this works. Let me try other methods. Let me send emails. Let me do DMs and see if I can get other opportunities. Now, what I've done is not revolutionary. I've simply created a job for myself that I control how I work, who I work with, in what capacity I work with them, and how much I get paid. Because if someone is not willing to pay my rates, I find someone who values my skill set more and will pay me my rates. I am in the same quote rat race. It's just to my liking. And I'm also not saying that this system that we're currently in is fair. I think that the options we have is to try and fix it, but we know that that is not going to happen overnight. So in the midst of things not really in our favor, you should probably make decisions with your best interests in mind. You got to play the game in some capacity, might as well play the game that pays better. This is just how I see things. So if you want to curate your life, have some more control, problem solve from where you are right now, likely really disillusioned with the world, struggling to get a job, all the things, I encourage you to not second guess your hunch and to take action in the path that feels aligned, because there are no rules, there is no guaranteed path, and pretty much all bets are on the table. If you understand the marketplace and what people value, you can make money and get paid, point blank, period. You just need to be willing to take action and work a little bit more and a little bit harder, especially in the beginning, than the average person, until things start to compound for you. Again, if this really resonates with you, you're tired of waiting for permission and you're interested in freelancing, definitely subscribe to my newsletter. And I also have an entire freelance playlist with 2-hour masterclass on how I actually built my freelance business, all the things. Click on the screen right now if you're watching on YouTube or on Spotify. It will be linked in the description. That's it. We'll talk soon. Bye.